Imagine this. You and your partner just finished a long week. You're sitting on the couch, scrolling through your banking app, and you see it, a combined household income of $130,000. On paper, you're in the top 25% of earners in the country. You've got the degrees, the steady careers, and a house in the nice school district. You did exactly what the default script told you to do. But then you look at the available balance. After the mortgage, the 2 car payments, the daycare bill, and the mountain of small charges for grocery delivery and takeout because you're both too exhausted to cook, there's almost nothing left. When the check engine light came on last Tuesday, your heart didn't just skip a beat, it sank. You had to put the repair on a credit card because despite making 6 figures, you're essentially living paycheck to paycheck. You feel like you're grinding 40, 50 hours a week just to tread water. You're exhausted, you rarely see your kids, and you're starting to ask yourself the forbidden question, where is all the money going? Welcome to TTradeFinance, where we spend way too much time thinking about modern financial systems and the invisible architecture that decides whether you'll struggle or sleep peacefully at night. If you're someone who would like to know more about the modern financial systems and financial struggle, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. The great bait and switch. Look, here's the thing. We've been sold a story that 2 incomes are always better than 1. It seems like basic addition, right? If one person making $70,000 can support a family, then adding a second income of $50,000 should mean you have an extra $50,000 for vacations and early retirement. Except that's not what actually happens. What we're living through is one of the biggest financial bait and switches in history. It's called the 2-income trap. Back in 1970, only about 43% of women were in the workforce. The typical middle-class family lived on 1 income. And here's what most people don't realize. That single income was actually enough. A median family could afford a home using just 25% of their income, put their kids in decent schools, and still have breathing room. But most importantly, they had an insurance policy. If the breadwinner got sick or lost their job, the stay-at-home parent could enter the workforce. That second income was their emergency reserve. Today, we've activated that backup plan as the default. We're running the engine at 100% capacity just to stay in the middle class. And this is where it gets really interesting and a little bit scary. Research shows that dual-income families today are actually more likely to go bankrupt than the single-income families of the 1970s. The math of the erasers. Now, you might be thinking, that's impossible. We're making way more than our grandparents did. And you're right, the gross numbers look bigger, but the erasers are at work. Let's break down the math of that $50,000 second salary. We're going to look at 4 major erasers that turn a $50K career into a $2K net gain. Eraser number 1, the progressive tax trap. Because of how progressive tax brackets work, that second income is taxed at a much higher marginal rate. Your first income might stay in the lower brackets, but that second $50,000 sits right on top of the stack. By the time you factor in federal, state, and payroll taxes, that $50,000 immediately shrinks to about $32,000 to $35,000. You've lost 30% of your labor before you've even left the driveway. Eraser number 2, the childcare pre-work tax. This is the big one. In the 1970s, childcare was non-issue because someone was home. Today, the average cost of daycare is roughly $15,000 per year per child. If you have 1 child, your $32,000 take-home pay is now down to $17,000. If you have 2, you're basically working just to pay the nanny. Eraser number 3, the commute and the second car. 2 working parents usually means 2 commutes. The average American commute costs about $5,000 a year in gas, insurance, and maintenance. But many dual-income families also have to buy a second car they wouldn't otherwise need. Factor in the car payment and depreciation, and you're looking at $8,000 in commuting costs. Your $17,000 is now $9,000. Eraser number 4, exhaustion spending. This is the one nobody talks about. When you're both working 50 hours a week and commuting, your domestic labor doesn't disappear, it just gets outsourced. You order DoorDash because you're too tired to cook. You hire a house cleaner because you have 0 weekend time. You pay for lawn service. These convenience expenses easily eat another $7,000 a year. the $1 per hour revelation. Let's look at the final tally. $50,000 salary, $18,000 taxes, $15,000 childcare, $8,000 commuting, $7,000 exhaustion spending. Total net gain, $2,000. That isn't a typo. You are working 2,000 hours a year to bring home an extra $2,000. That is $1 per hour. You're spending 40 hours a week away from your kids, grinding in traffic and dealing with a boss you might not even like, all for the price of a fancy coffee once a day. The psychology of the trap. So why do we do it? Why do we keep running this race? It's because of the illusion of prosperity. Because your tax return says you make $120,000, the bank says you can afford a $400,000 mortgage. You size your entire life around both incomes being permanent and guaranteed. This creates what I call golden handcuffs. You're no longer free to leave your job because you need every cent of both salaries just to cover your fixed costs. You've built a lifestyle that requires 100% of your combined effort just to maintain the baseline. There is no margin of safety here. In engineering, if you're building a bridge for 10,000-pound trucks, you build it to hold 30,000 pounds just in case. But modern dual-income families are building a 10,000-pound bridge and driving a 10,000-pound truck every single day. If someone gets a flu, a layoff, or a broken transmission, the whole bridge collapses, breaking the system. Now, I'm not saying one partner should quit their job tomorrow. For many, that's not an option. But what you can do is stop playing the game the way the system wants you to play it. Here is the one income foundation strategy you can start applying today. 1. Structure your fixed costs for one income. The biggest mistake is buying the house that two incomes can qualify for. Instead, aim to live in a house that could be covered by the primary earner alone. This might mean a smaller home or a different neighborhood, but it buys you the most valuable thing money can buy. 2. The $10,000 neural reset. If you are currently living paycheck to paycheck, your brain is in survival mode. Cortisol is high. You can't think strategically because you're worried about rent. Your first mission is to save $10,000. This isn't just a number. It's a psychological milestone that moves you from panic to mild annoyance when a crisis hits. 3. Treat the second income as invisible. If you are netting $20,000 or $30,000 after the erasers, don't use it to upgrade your car. Use it to build an FU fund, a pile of money that lets you walk away from a toxic boss or a bad situation. Or use it to hit your crossover point, the moment your investments start earning more in growth than you manually contribute from your paycheck. 4. Opt out of status signaling. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the $8 million janitor Ronald Reed driving a beat-up car while his money compounded in the dark. Stop using your hard-earned second income to signal that you're successful to people you don't even like. Conclusion. Here's the hard truth. The system is designed to keep you busy enough that you don't have the time to become rich. It gives you just enough comfort, the nice car, the streaming services, the takeout, to stop you from asking why you're not free. But once you see the erasers, you can't unsee them. You can decide that your time is worth more than $1 per hour. You can decide to build a life where money serves you instead of you being a slave to your mortgage. The goal isn't just to earn more. The goal is to build optionality. The goal is the freedom to say no. If you found this breakdown valuable, smash that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the default financial script. Start building your foundation today. Your future self is counting on it. Thanks for watching TTradeFinance, and I'll see you in the next one.